and you take it up to what you think is 60 miles an hour. You look down the speedometer, your foot's been in the same place. You haven't changed anything except the motor is now synchronized. Everything is going together. It's put together, and you're no longer working on six cylinders instead of 8. It's going like this. Not going like this anymore. You're up to 90 miles an hour, and you look at the thing. How is that possible? Well, that's what Sanford Moeller did for me 50 years ago. Made me do this. Okay, here's one hand at a time. Downstroke, big whip, whack. You see how I'm coming back? Coming right back to here and stopping. Now my arm hasn't moved after this. Tap, up, down, tap, up. Now you see, I'm not coming back like this. He didn't want to see the palm of your hand. That he had that in common with another teacher named J. Burns Moore, of which I'll speak more of later. Down, tap, up. Down, tap, up. Same over here. Your whipping stroke, same match grip. Now, if you can hypnotize yourself, you can almost believe when you look at this video, say, that old man's not really playing those sticks. There's a force field in here, and those sticks are just toggles. He's sticking them in the force field, and they're playing themselves. He's just holding on to them, because it's halfway true. See that one motion? That one motion starts so much. See that one little motion there? It's that little flick. Now, if I'm doing it loud, it's like throwing a ball at the ground and wanting to bounce up to the 3rd story. If I do it a little softer, it's like dribbling a basketball. If I do it quite softly, it's like flicking water off the tips of my fingers. Same over here. I'm getting ahead of myself. That's an exercise you're going to see later. Now, if anybody tells you that there's only one way to hold the drumstick, you have to look at them in disbelief, because there is no more wandering thing than the fulcrum of a handhold when you're really playing loud one time and soft another time. Now, watch just from what we talked about so far. Watch how the fulcrum has changed here now. Right here, I'm playing. The fulcrum is out in here. I'm playing in a sort of a French timpani method now, my right hand. Now, if I want to get a little louder in my right hand, look where it's changed to. I'm no longer holding it out here. I'm holding it with this finger around it, sort of like that. No longer out in here. In here. Now watch when now this is quite a bit different, though it has certain salient qualities that are the same as the Moeller system. Because there's only a few ways to accent well, and this is the best of them as far as getting a loud, strong sound and getting a continuous hit. See, what I'm doing is I'm doing somewhat the same in a sort of a French hold way. I'm getting the same kind of an accent as I got out here. It's not as satisfactory for this particular thing, because the French hold is better for single strokes and better for crescendos. Not as good as not as good as for accenting as the Moeller system. But then again, here's split the difference. We're in the German timpani mode now. Now I'm doing the German timpani mode. Now inside this German timpani method, see, I'm doing it pretty purely now, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, but I can also, in spite of the fact that I'm not really out here in this other 90-degree position that I'll talk about in a minute, I'm in this 45 position, I can almost get a pretty good, by drooping my hand instead of playing with a flat hand like this. Now watch the droop, watch it, and droop in my wrist now. See, this is almost pure Moeller, except that it's coming up this way too much. Now Moeller, and also in concert with that man I talked about before, named J. Burns Moore, didn't want to see the inside of your hand. They didn't want to see that. They wanted to see the back of your hand. Now, if I'm out here, watch what happens. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing wrist pronation. I'm not doing this. I'm coming up with a forearm turn. Now watch wrist pronation. I can only get to this point. This is a symptom or symptomatic of the German timpani, that you're coming up this way, and this is what you want to see at the top. You want to see the inside of your hand. Moeller and J. Burns Moore didn't want to see that. They wanted the roll out like this, so it was forearm turning. Not this. They wanted the forearm to turn this way a little bit. Now, the reason for that is that you can only go to here. If you're holding the sticks relatively tight, you can only go to there playing German timpani. Now, watch the difference now. Watch, now I'm going to droop my wrists. I'm going to get out into here now. Now I'm playing what is essentially what Burns Moore taught, which is like a big tap, which I liken to a karate chop. Like this, boom, boom. But you're here now. They didn't want to see this. Watch me now. I'm in the Burns Moore tradition, but I'm playing it wrong. See where I am? I can't. I'm back in this position. I can't come out all the way because my wrists will only go this far back. However, if I do this, I go out to infinity. See? Because I'm rolling my forearms. But I'm not way out like that. That's too far. You only come up to here, and then it works fine up to there, but then you have to roll out. You can't come up this way and then go like that, because that's as far as you can go. You can do it, but it inhibits you. But Burns Moore and Moeller, they were exponents of military drumming. As such, they really wanted you to be able to hit. Well, there's no bigger. You can get a very big hit this way. Now, the thing that happens with J. Burns Moore, though, the same thing happens with J. Burns Moore as happened when you go fast in the German timpani. You have to make that little adjustment. You have to bow this wrist and get that 1 for 3. This is in triplets. I'm talking about triplet, hand-to-hand triplets. I said the easiest hand-to-hand motion is a triplet. So if I'm doing this, you see when I get here, now I'm doing German timpani, but I'm not doing anything. I'm not making any of that little whipping stroke. But when I start making the whipping stroke, it relaxes. Same thing happens out here. Burns Moore here, fine. But if you get faster, watch what it turns into. Watch what it turns. Watch the whipping stroke. Now that is, even though it starts off as Burns Moore's karate chop, turns into the Moeller downstroke, tap, down, tap, up. Now here's Burns Moore, Moeller. Again, Burns Moore. A karate chop for an accent, see? Watch it. I'm going to turn it and I'm going to let it assume its own identity. And its own identity is it turns into this. You can't do that long. You have to turn it into this. But the great thing about J. Burns Moore was that he knew that would happen. He didn't teach it, but he knew that would have to happen. That it would have to turn into what Moeller taught from the beginning. Remember what I said Moeller was? Is down, tap, up, down. One motion. See the difference now there? Burns Moore, Moeller. See the difference? difference in the way the wrist is doing this, the other was doing that. Now, soft, I can turn this, like this is, because of the position here, this is German timpani. I call it German. But I can do that little thing. I would call this a modified soft Burns Moore. Because it's out here as opposed to this. See, this comes up like this comes up like this. See the difference? One is this, one is this. Okay, now, you can see